Says that the guys that work with you on in your current consultancy, are they there with you in Georgia, or are they guys working remotely?
They are in the same galaxy.
Okay. Nice answer. Nice answer.
We are all in the same galaxy.
Okay.
I have guys here in Europe, in South
Okay.
America,
All
in
over.
the US, in Italy. I had one guy in China eventually, but the time it's
But
difficult.
these are basically all guys that you know and you've cherry picked from here, there, and everywhere. Okay.
Yeah,
All
yeah,
right.
yeah. Uh, basically, what I do is kind of what I try to do is depending on the project and depending the scope, and if it's aerospace like jets or whatever, or if it's boats, or if it's kind of car or car interior, car exterior, I will find. Luckily enough, and we met such amazing people over the past years,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Kind of
yeah,
on this. I mean, how many unbelievable brains we kind of touched
yeah,
in the past
yeah,
years, and how many bright people. So depending on how it goes, I have a team that works with me for mostly of the projects, of course, and we have a kind of, let's say, three guys are always with me, independently how it goes, and I get people from different realities accordingly to the necessity. That's pretty cool. That's so cool. It's again, it's a type of freedom that I've never experienced before. I don't rely on that money to survive, which is great. Right? Whatever comes, comes. So I don't. That's not my main job. Eventually, I get more money from that than from my job. But the point is, it's cool. It's fun, and this is probably what I've been thinking or looking for, and thinking that I always dream to do. Have the freedom to enjoy creating things. I've been working, for example, I can't tell what it is until it's released, but in a consumer good product, let's say like this. Never imagined that I was going to touch anything. I'm a car designer, right? So I went back again, let's say 15 years from now, to that moment that I was in New York doing product design, and kind of got that. And the process was smooth. It kind of was just myself in that project, right? But it was great. So again, it was fun, and it should be like this. Normally, or eventually, inside companies or big in kind of structured design studios, you lose a little bit of that, right?
yeah.
You lose a little bit of that sense of freedom and fun, and it's everywhere. Like I mean, every job has, and every career has the positives and cons, right? Kind of the goods and bad things that you can find. But even mine now has, of course, positives and
Yeah,
negatives.
yeah.
But I'm looking for. I want to have fun. I want to design and do good design, great design if I can. Uh, so it goes as it goes.
Cesar, your I want to talk before. Okay, let's do that first. Your painting, your bonnet painting.
Yeah.
Where did that start at Whitley, and
Yes, it did.
how did it start? Because those things are absolutely amazing.
Thank you. Appreciate that. That's a. I appreciate your compliment. I mean, my artworks, as I mentioned before, I went to architecture. I used to do a lot of drawings. I used to create a lot of uh, how can I say, more artistic stuff. Not so focused in industrial design because I had no. I want to be a car designer, of course, but I wasn't still in that level. So a lot of the things that I created, they were a little bit more loose. And I used to paint, I kind of, but never, again, never professionally, never as a kind of part of my life. Then one specific moment at Jaguar triggered that. I remember, I wasn't sure if it was Julian or Alistair or Adam. I don't remember who was, or maybe Ian. They said, oh, we need a series of artworks for the F-Type launch. And they invited everyone to do it.
Ah, I remember. Yeah.
You remember that?
Yes.
I don't remember who triggered that.
Yeah.
Probably all of
Yes.
them. And I said, you know what? I've been doing that in the past, kind of in a completely different way. Why not trying to do something? And I got some artworks and kind of, if you get the brochure, the F-Type launch brochure, there's a lot of kind of artworks from myself, from James Stream, from a lot of James. I love James. He's such a great guy. Pav, all those guys, they're amazing.
Shout out to
and
Pav.
kind of, I mean, yeah, and we got a lot of those things, or artworks from them in that book. And I felt, whoa, there is something here, right? Kind of, I did not realize that I still got that from the past. Again, you are what you experienced before, right? It builds up on you, and it's there somewhere. And when you need, it will trigger, and ka-ching, the light goes on, and you do the synapses, and things start working. So I felt, okay, good, let's have fun, and I started doing. I mean, everyone did that, and we started doing a lot of artworks for every single car launch that we had, for all the models. I worked in a lot of them as designer, as a normal car designer, but I did artworks for probably all of them. I can say that probably every single Jag, the kind of new ones I've done as some sort of artworks for the launch and material launch and kind of stuff like that. And one day I felt like, okay, I had an artwork in my living room that I've done, a digital artwork, and I said, that's cool, but if I remember that I worked on the F-Type all-wheel drive hood bonnet. Sorry, hood is here in America. The F-Type bonnet, the all-wheel drive. And I said, wow, I worked in that model, right? Somehow it's a beautiful sculpture, the clamshell, all the form that you have in there. And I said, actually, if I get one of those and I try to paint whatever I've done, kind of. So I helped to design the bonnet. Sorry, I helped to design the bonnet. I can create an artwork and mix both things. So I kind of join what I do in my daily basis with my passion, and that will be my way to celebrate this. Could not buy an F-Type hood in that time, could not find it, or my resources were kind of a little bit shorter than I expected when trying to buy an F-Type hood. I end up finding in London a XK8 hood. So I got my car, drove to London, and hold on. Sorry, just getting a little bit more of extra light here. Got my car, drove down to London, got the XK8 hood, brought back home, and I said, I'm going to paint this shit. And I got some paint, and I painted.
What paint?
It looks amazing. I
want to know, what paint was this?
That's the problem. Got it painted, and again, I said, I don't want to go into the kind of the work that I do daily, kind of all the beautiful
precious,
lines. I want to go loose, right? I want to go bonkers on this. Let's see what happens. I painted. And I was pissed like a dog, and I sat in front of it, and I said, I love this shit. And then on the other day, it melted. Basically, it melted down to the kind of, it was a kind of modern art type of thing. I kind of regret not keeping that because I still have the hood. I kept the hood because it was the first one. It's here in my garage in the US. I brought a container full of crap from England. Good crap. A lot of car parts. And I saw that. I said, "Wow, come on." So then I went to Daniel and kind of and our paint shop and Dan, and I said, Dan, I need to understand how to what kind of paint should I use. And then we had a lot of conversations, kind of how to prepare the surface, how to get it done, how to apply, kind of how to conserve that after. And I eventually learned how to mix some stuff, and I managed to get them painted. Then I painted one. I rented a van and I drove around England trying to get hoods and bonnets. And I say, sorry about the hood thing. If
It's
I say
okay. It's
hood
okay.
here, no
It's
one.
okay. It's okay.
If I say bonnets here, no one understands me. And I got the bonnets, and I kind of drove every weekend. I would rent a van from whatever Hertz or Enterprise, and just drive the van and kind of collect hoods everywhere. In a moment, I got, I don't know, 25, 27 hoods at home. My wife was like,
What?
what in the hell is going on? I went to a place in was near London. What's the name? I don't remember now. And I bought 7 XKS hoods. I mean, that was 2 that they were okay, but they were like peanuts, right? Peanuts.
Like
Nothing.
how much?
But
How
I bought
much are we
all.
talking?
I don't remember now, but kind of a couple of hundreds, let's say, like that, for all of
Jesus.
them. And they were kind of rusted, right? Completely destroyed. And there was 2 of them. They were pretty good, very nice. And I said, okay, that's fine. That's great for me. But the guy said, I only sell you those altogether. And I said, okay, I'm fine. I end up selling them for £10 each for a kind of scrapyard or whatever, the ones that I didn't use, because they're too bad. But I got, I don't know, 20 something hoods at home, and I started painting them. And not to show to anyone, never thought that that could be anything. It was just for my own mindset. I found a very nice way to relax, basically. And one day, guy from the chair from Coventry University saw them and said, we need to show this to people. And I said, no freaking way. We're not showing this to anyone. No, we need to do it. I said, no. Eventually, we got that conversation, and kind of we decided, I'll say, okay, I'll get 10 of them and we can show. And we did. I don't know if you saw that. I even got the Project 7, the original one, during that event at Fargo in Coventry.
Yeah.
During the Motorfest, Coventry Motorfest.
Was Sterling Moss there? Was that? There was some famous racing driver, some old boy that was there. Was it? It wasn't Sterling Moss. No.
I don't know now. Don't remember.
No. But
Sorry.
you posed with a picture with this guy. It was obviously not Sterling Moss then, but it was a pretty well known. Anyway, it doesn't matter if you don't remember.
I need to find that. Yeah, I'll dig that. Again, my memory's a little bit like that. I'll find that. I'll find out that.
Yeah.
Send me the picture if you find it.
I'll have a look.
There was a lot of cool people that day, and of course all the guys from Jag, and the thing started. And I'm kind of, in that moment, some of my hoods are kind of cool, some of them not that many, that cool, because I was starting again. I never intend to show them to anyone, and the process. Some of my color palettes in the beginning, because I managed to mix only some type of paint, they were very restricted, right? Then I found a supplier that would give me more colors, allow me to blend them in a nice way and keep them working. And the thing evolved. In a moment, I even got invited by Jag to kind of create a whole collection and start by Jaguar Global Merchandising Collection. I painted the hood for them. that we presented at Paris Motor Show. That was the kind of centerpiece for the global merchandising collection. And we had the plan to do all the hoods, kind of start selling that as part of the merchandising. But for some funny reasons, we never did that. But which was okay. I say that it was okay now. That time wasn't that nice. But again, that opened a lot of doors, let's say like this. And today, here in the US, I have partnerships with BMW, right? I'm painting a full BMW 2002 car as a BMW art car officially for BMW.
Wow.
I've been painting airplane parts. I have a partnership with Ferrari as well. So I kind of the racing team here in the US that race the Challenge League, the Ferrari Challenge Championship globally. And I paint a lot of parts for them, kind of parts that have been racing, that crashed, that kind of 488 Evolution cars, basically. I got some parts from 458 Italias, but I've been painting a little bit of everything. There's a guy in California that came to me one day, said, "Oh, I have your F-Type Project 7. I know that you worked in the F-Type, and I got an 18 model year." And actually, he has it now. He had a normal before, kind of yearly model earlier. And he came to me and he said, "I want you to paint F-Type hood, a bonnet. But since you worked in the all-wheel drive bonnet, I consider that a sculpture." Right? He's a Jag collector, basically. So he understands Jaguar heritage and so on, everything. And he said, I have this bonnet, and I bought it because I bought thinking about you. I kind of one day we will kind of gonna meet, and this would happen. And eventually, of course, he chased me and we met. So, but I don't want this bonnet on the wall as you do. I want this bonnet I want you to design a plinth, a platform, and I want that in the middle of my living room in California. I said, okay, that sounds cool. And eventually we did it, right? So you got the bonnet there, kind of the carbon fiber plinth, and the artwork from his Project 7 on top of the hood. So kind of I've done that with Lamborghinis, with again all sorts of different things, different cars, and never imagined that. And the last thing that I've done that I kind of truly enjoyed, I got a guy here from Georgia in the United States that asked me to paint an elevator wing from Hercules C-130. I'll send you some pictures.
Wow.
That was crazy. That was crazy. And again, completely new experience. So it's still going. It's kind of actually going much better than I ever expected. And I'm not on social media. I mean, now, of course, I have a kind of very restricted. I never had a marketing plan. I never did anything to actually push that. It happens as it goes, and I like that, to be honest. I like the flow. I like to them to be unique, very limited, and keep them special.
So Cesar, what paint is it that you're using now? Is that a secret?
A mix.
What?
It's a mix. It's a mix of different paints.
Right. Okay.
It's a mix of preparing the surfaces properly. It's a mix of how to kind of protect them properly after, so they don't fade, they don't kind of get scratched, they don't go away, they don't melt, as I had a few times. It's a mix of things.
But is there like a gloss coat over the top as well?
I had parts that has nothing on top of it, because the guy said, I want that to be as delicate as a kind of normal canvas frame, right? If you do this, you will scratch. And I said, up to you. You're buying it. You do whatever you want with your bonnet, right? So if you don't want me to have the lacquer on top, great. But I had, for example, customers, and I have bonnets that have a kind of very thick layer of transparent on top. So that's kind of protects, of course, but creates a very cool finish because it's deep, right? The colors get deeper. There's a lot of refraction. There's a lot of deeper kind of, it's embodied, basically. Let's say like this. The ones with the paint, they're usually matte because of the nature of the paint. Some of them would come to me and say, okay, build the transparent, and then on the last layer, you put a satin.
Okay.
And it becomes matte. But it's still deep. So I've been doing a little bit of everything, or fully satin, or kind of, again, all sorts of. I've been experimenting.
Okay.
Right?
Very.
Again, it's how can I say that? It's so kind of myself that I don't see that mass produced. I don't see, everyone has a different story, has a meaning why. The parts came from this, and the part has a history as well, has a proper story. Some of the parts came from, again, this drive that Kent. I went to Kent with the van to get the 7 or 9 XKS hoods. I mean, I've been in a kind of getting parts that have been racing. For example, the C-type that I have is the only fiberglass that I have. But the guy used to race in Italy. He crashed the original. And then he crashed the fiberglass that he built, and he had the mode. So every time that I asked him, horrible driver, but every time that he kind of touched something with his C-type hood, he builds another fiberglass one. But again, this guy crashed that one in Italy, and I got it, and it's still with me. I never managed to sell that. I kind of, no, I love it. It's in an exhibition here in the US. So it's there exposed, and it's my little thing. Kind of, it's pretty big actually.
Cesar, I hate. I haven't really asked these questions before, but a few people have requested that I start asking this, so I will ask it. Is what car do you drive? What is your daily driver? I just find it such a fucking cliched thing, but I will ask you for the sake of the people, because I'm a people pleaser.
I like to go to work with a specific car. I have a 1973 Fiat Spider, a 124 Spider convertible that I love going to work with. Classic Italian, right? Tom Giarda car. Beautiful thing. I love that shit. It's so freaking cool. Then I have a BMW E30, a 1986.
What?
Coupe.
What?
Is that 325?
325. Very
it's
nice.
It's not in the best condition, but it's getting there. I'm working on that. I have a Jaguar an XF, the new one, kind of S version of V6S. Is that kind of I use quite a lot, and I have another classic BMW, let's say like this.
Which is what?
But my daily drivers is for sure the Fiat. The Fiat is just too cool.
What is the other BMW?
I'll tell you soon.
It's also well, how can it be a secret?
It's a surprise.
But listen, tell me something about what about the E30? What is it? Is that because I've been eyeing those up over the past, and the thing is, there's in the E30 category, you've got the 318 IS, you've got you've got, okay, obviously the M3 is totally out of reach, but even then it's a 5 cylinder. The thing about the 325 is that obviously it's a 6 cylinder.
Yes, the six cylinder.
And
Yeah.
what is that car? What is a car like to drive?
Oh, it's cool as shit.
Yeah,
It's a pretty cool thing. I mean, I the car is absolutely uh, okay mechanically. It doesn't look that good. The paint, the kind of the transparent is all kind of going away, and the kind of the lacquer is a little bit kind of bad. So it needs a full repaint. I still didn't touch that, but I was doing kind of. I bought all the. I'm doing myself, so I changed my son. My son is 7 years old, so he helped me to change the brakes. He kind of brake pads and all the kind of work in the suspension that we are doing. So we're kind of changing, of course, all the coils and kind of getting all redone and rebuilt. I don't have much time. Now I drive it eventually, so it's all beautifully assembled outside. Kind of you can drive it, but it has been a little bit kind of probably about 2 3 months um, kind of in my garage. Now I have I have a 2002 in my garage now. That
really.
kind of is
Though that you painting
uh,
or
the one that I'm painting. Yeah, and there's the other BMW that is probably coming. Kind of, it's not here in front of my garage anymore because don't have space. I have my wife, and it sounds funny. I'm not a kind of big BMW guy, but my wife has a BMW as well. So
I
so there's
love.
too many BMWs in my life now. I need to swap to Jags. I got I need to get an F type, right? 18 model year. I need it. So I couldn't get it because I ended up getting the XFS, more family. XF has only the F type has only 2 seats. We are in 4 here, plus a dog, plus a cat. So I needed space. But I'm now that we got the BMW for my wife, I'm probably getting an F type to myself. An 18 model year V8 supercharged V8R.
As an outsider now, because obviously you've got no connection to the company anymore. Do you think that that there could, like, Jaguar could? There was a lot of speculation about what the F Type was going to be, and
Mm-hmm.
there was talk, like, at once there was like how we pigeoned what we understood that it was going to be is that initially it was going to be, well, what we thought was going to be a Cayman competitor, and then it was like then there was talk of it being a 911 competitor, and then something in between. But it's not really either of those things. It's kind of it's I don't know. It's its own thing now. But do you not think that there's room in the Jaguar lineup for like a Cayman competitor, like a hardcore mid-engined Cayman competitor?
Yes, there is. There
I
is.
think it could be a fucking great car.
I think there is. I think there is. There's kind of space to many extra models, right? And I mean, Julian has the chance to do all that stuff, and kind of he has the control now, of course, and he's a extremely bright guy and kind of super keen about what he does as well, and he's amazing. So I'm sure he will come up with some extremely cool cars in the next years. Uh, if marketing and the kind of the whole business kind of will understand what Jaguar is about and what and how it should be positioned, unfortunately, is a different story. And this is what I mentioned that kind of I enjoy very much the freedom that I'm having now. Kind of right. I kind of sometimes I think Jag has everything to be just like Porsche, right? It has all the ingredients, has all the heritage, has all the beauty, has all the magic surrounding the brand. Porsche assumes its roots and assume the kind of what it's about and fascinates people daily with amazing product. we have. I mean, we Jaguar has a different approach, if I can call it like that. Of course, the business case is very important. Of course, what we can eventually, the budget that both companies have may be completely different, and the kind of the approach and the sales for both brands are completely different as well. So you can only do it. I mean, as designers, and I'm sure that Ian and Julian they have their vision for what Jaguar should be, and a lot of people have, right?
The problem is there's just so many people involved in those decisions. It's just
and again, going back to the beginning of our conversation, the kind of what we need to be a designer from the educational perspective. A lot of designers do not realize that there's always the business. There's always kind of every line, every surface, every molding, every kind of part of that, for example, headlamp, will cost a reasonable amount of money. Every variation of a bumper will cost a lot of money. A few millions, right? And a headlamp can go to, I don't know, 15 millions to 7 to 15 millions, depending how it goes. And people do not realize that, right? And the commitment that a brand must have with their kind of products and what they represent sometimes is sacrificed by the budget, or sacrificed by sales, or how poorly market they are. For example, I've been here 2.5 years in the US. You know how many times I've seen any sort of Jaguar advertisement? None. Zero. Right? Zero. 2.5 years. I've been doing actions with them. And they came to me and said, you know what? After we did that with you, we've been selling cars. I said, you need to do freaking stuff.
They can sponsor the podcast. They can sponsor them. I'll make it happen for them.
I'm away from Jaguar. I've had nothing to do with them. So I just buy them now.
Yeah.
I'm a consumer.
Cesar, I want to...
A very, very, very dedicated client. Let's say like this.
Dude, two questions. Last Jaguar question. Your obsession with Jaguar, is that started before you started working there?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sure.
Okay.
Sure. The first time that I saw Ian, I was shaking like a bamboo. And he knows that. I was shaking like a little girl. Was like one of the craziest. I mean, I respect him tremendously, and we kind of exchange messages, and then kind of I like him. I think he likes me as well. But that became probably when I was a little kid.
What did it start with? The E-Type or the D-Type?
I think the D-Type.
The D-Type.
I had
not the XJS.
No, I think it was the D-Type. I had a little Matchbox, a D-Type number 6 with the thin fairing behind the driver, long nose. I think it started there when I was my son has, I don't know, behind this wall here. He has this same wall behind that is his bedroom, covered in Hot Wheels. And
I have a problem with buying Hot Wheels now, dude. I have a real fucking problem. Every time I go to the shop, I buy more Hot Wheels for him. I bought him one today. I'm obsessed. I'm totally obsessed.
And you know how much is a Hot Wheel here?
How much?
$1.99.
Well, yeah, dude, it's also so fucking cheap. Yeah, I think it's like €1.20 or something. Yeah.
Yeah, it became so cheap. When I was a kid, to have a kind of freaking Matchbox car was quite complicated. Yeah. Now, again, I go to the supermarket and I get, my wife kind of hates that, but I get kind of box.
Yeah.
You get $20, you get 20 cars,
Wow.
right? Oh man, that's too good to be real.
Fuck, dude.
And I have. Let me choose what to show you here.
No,
Kind of.
let's.
This is
I
one
want to.
talking about Jags. Talk about Jags. This is kind of the Formula E racing
Right.
one. I have
But hold on, you wanted to talk about that bonnet on the wall, the blue one.
the blue one.
Yes.
Okay.
Talk to me. Tell me.
There's a 3D printer there. Can you see that?
Yes.
In the corner there. There's a 3D printer there. There's a guitar as well, but there is a 3D printer there.
Are you going
I
to
printed
play
the
the guitar?
Spitfire. I do play. Yeah,
I
I
said,
play
are
acoustic.
you going to play the guitar?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I have a. Funny enough, I have at home probably 6 drum kits, all sorts of different drum kits,
Jesus.
electronics as well. One electronic, and all the others are acoustic. I have probably 4 guitars, 1 acoustic guitar, 1 nylon, acoustic classic nylon. I have saxophone, a transversal flute, a piano. What else? A lot of percussion, crappy stuff, and I love it.
I want to see some music, Cesar. I want to see some music.
We can record another day. We can go downstairs. I have a music room covered in instruments.
Dude,
Can I have a bass as well? I like playing with the bass. I don't play that much, but I like kind of playing with it. I have a bass guitar. It's pretty cool. And my kids, they have as well. And my daughter plays the flute. I don't play the flute. I play the sax, but very badly as well. But I do play. And we have smaller guitars for them. My son has a Fender. Look at this. Kind of effects and so on and on. So there's a lot of. I'm surrounded by crap. Not crap, cool stuff. I love it.
So,
you need to have fun. It's all about having fun.
Yeah, no, you do. But it's also my son has he's turns 3 at the end of April, so he's almost 3 years old, and he for the last 18 months almost he's been drumming on everything all day, every day. So we bought him. Much to our better judgment, about a year ago, we bought him a drum kit, and he fucking plays that thing all the time. We've got a small apartment, but dude, he's pretty special. I listened to an interview with Lenny Kravitz's dad, and he was saying that when Lenny Kravitz was a kid, they also lived in a small apartment. They would put the toys away at like 7 o'clock, and he would just start playing drums on everything. And my son it's like borderline autism. He hasn't stopped. And so anyway.
It's great. It's great. You know why it's great? Because it's art. It opens your mind. It kind of teaches you how to perceive things in different ways. I have a very funny thing. I don't know if everyone has that. Maybe I'm kind of strange, but I'm sure I am.
No comment.
And when sometimes I listen to sound, I see a color, poof, a flash of color. It's my brain. I used to play a lot. I kind of recorded in studios. The thing that I play properly is drums, right? Yeah, all the rest I have fun. So I see freaking colors depending the kind of the pitch that it gets. It gets this kind of flash, and then it goes away. But if you read this book, and I have a bunch of books here. Now it's here. How to Think Like Leonardo da Vinci.
Yes.
It's a freaking cool book. And they talk about that, right? They talk, oops, sorry, my light went off. Read it and you're going to understand what that is. Very, very nice. It's part of, it opens your brain, right? It makes you perceive stuff in a completely different way. So music's, I think, like some people fall impassioned by basketball, football, or volleyball. I don't know. Well, every type of swimming, every type of any kind of sports,
Breakdancing.
like dancing. I mean, there's nothing better to a kid to fall in love kind of for an instrument. It's the cognitive kind of response that you get and kind of your brain trying to kind of control your fingers. And then you understand kind of music in its complexity and kind of all sorts of beautiful styles that exist. Again, it's like design, isn't it? It's an art on itself. And I mean, I pay music lessons to my kids. And for example, my daughter plays the transversal flute, and I can see her evolution and how that calms her and helps her to see music. Now she understands kind of complexes and kind of how music is structured, and she started to writing and kind of music, kind of writing the notes properly and the tempo and so on and on. It's like speaking another language. It's music. I don't know. That doesn't sound that good as designers, but it's music, right? You speak another freaking language, and how cool is that?
So talk to me about that bonnet, the blue one.
Oh yeah, sure. So the bonnet I've done on that 3D printer. I model it. I love modeling kind of different things. I modeled this.
What printer is that? Is it an Ender?
That's an Ultimaker 2 extended.
Okay.
Yeah, I broke it. It's broken now. Actually, I was printing. What I was printing? X-wing fighter, and he went away from the plate, and he started printing kind of loose, and all the filament that was loose ended up inside of the mechanism, kind of the motors, the motors that move, and the kind of it's broken now. So this part here, I don't know, you see that white part there? Yeah. Is a cover. I'm changing all the chains and not chains, how do you call that?
Belts. I don't know. The
belts.
Fan belts.
Thank you. All the belts. Yeah, all the belts. And I'm changing it also. I'm fixing it. So the little bonnet, the little hood, it's something that I'm actually doing. Basically, I restarted doing that here in the US. Not everyone can have a full-size hood at home. Let's say that's the answer.
Okay.
Right.
Very good.
And not everyone can, with all due kind of being reasonable, no one can. Some people will not buy a classic, unique bonnet that kind of by itself, or an airplane wing that costs a lot of money, plus all the work done on top of it. Some people want something small like that to be in the office. Actually, there is a drawing on that. You can't see because it's a black marker on top of the blue. Yeah, sorry. I mean, it's. If I could take it from the wall, I would take.
No, it's okay.
There's an E-type sketch on it.
Very nice. Very, very nice. Cesar, last question, and then I'll let you go. Your advice for somebody wanting to become a designer today. Talk to me. Talk to the people.
Be a constant learner, understanding that you're only going to be a cool designer if you are kind of understanding the mindset behind it. You can be a crazy sketcher. You can be do amazing sketches, but if you don't understand what you're putting in a piece of paper, if you don't understand what a lot of forms and shapes communicate, and how every single line means something, you're not going anywhere, right? Again, it's all about the practical application of our profession, right? You must have a kind of so broad general education and kind of pay attention to everything that you are able to have this converging thinking joining the dots. You do a research, for example, a contextual research, and you learn a lot about what you're going to do and what is the intent of that design. And boom, you do the research and you have a lot of stuff. What you need to do is to be able to join the dots and have transformative connections that will generate something that is unique. It's easy to find and create? Absolutely not. Again, how many times we all failed trying to achieve something that is unique and then in the end doesn't work as expected. But you must have that mindset. You must be curious. You must go beyond. You need to create that database of knowledge that will really make you stand out and understand the business case, understand how much that piece of whatever you are designing is going to cost to be produced, what the business needs, what is the business requirement, what is the kind of the DNA for the brand. So again, I think it's to, how can I say that? It's being able to having this comprehensive overview, right? You're working on this, but there's a universe of things. There are different markets. There are different requirements from these markets and what people like here and there. So what you need to be able to understand is, am I designing for Sam or am I designing for Cesar, or kind of what is the requirement? What is the user? China has completely different requirements from Europe. And we took quite a long time to understand that, right? So I think the main, just to kind of try to synthesize all that, kind of being curious, that's one of the things. You must be curious. You must have a library in your brain, that this database of knowledge, that kind of, my dean, the dean of my university, keeps saying one thing that is pretty interesting. My boss now. If you sign a magazine, if you subscribe for a magazine, any magazine, talking about science to say, there is a special thing about that. It comes from by the mail, and you receive that. It's always like a gift. It's a surprise. Then you open that magazine, and then you start kind of looking quickly, like we all do. And let's say that is a magazine about science, right, or materials or whatever. You're always going to learn something that you didn't expect. And whatever you learn, that is going to bring you more, because you want to be curious about that. So that's what kind of bringing you to a further level, because you want to understand how that shit was done, right? So you learn, for example, fluid dynamics. Great. If you subscribe for 5 magazines and you're receiving 5 magazines in a month, different ones, different subjects, in a year, you have 60 different magazines that you're going to be receiving during that year, that will bring a daily unexpected information to you kind of every day. So this is how I think you should take life. And I think that's really important, because you can go to internet, but there's some type of magic in the paper, going to a library, that you go for a book and you see that book and you see that book and you see that one. And eventually you went for one, and actually, again, you got a pile of them, and you love it, because I was looking for material revolution and sustainable multi-purpose materials for design and architecture, but you find Jackie Welsh winning that talks about business, and you love it, and I want to read that shit as well. And then you start becoming curious, and that becomes your mindset. So when you sit to talk to someone about designing a tripod, your brain goes so much beyond, and you're so much prepared to join those dots, that you may have a better outcome. You can be a better designer, let's say like this. So keep joining the freaking dots. Keep being curious. And for example, learn about mechanics. You see, Fiat 1969, 1981. I found this one another day in the internet and has all the diagrams and a lot of things that I don't understand about electrics. I'm trying to rewire my Fiat completely. Probably if I do it will not work, but I'm trying to understand how to do it. So keep freaking curious. That's the goal.
Very good. Yes.
That's one point. Sorry, just to
No,
close.
no, no.
Speak Designish, please.
Yes.
Right? Learn another language. Understand technology. Right? Try to be curious and see what's going there everywhere. We cannot have innovation without technology. Materials technology, equipments, and kind of electronics or whatever. Again, join the dots and you're going to get innovation. Be able to think about framing tomorrow. Like we've been living as we used to live since man cave until the Industrial Revolution, like more or less the same way, right? People would go from leave the cave, walk only so much, few miles, kill whatever they would find, and eat. Now, if I go to the supermarket and I want to say I want bananas from Bolivia or Colombia, I have bananas all year around. I want kind of raspberries from whatever, I get it. So since the Industrial Revolution, the way that we know this planet has been evolving in an exponential way that has been changing. So learn how to frame tomorrow. So I have a question, for example, what about the kitchen of the future? What is the kitchen? If you have to design the kitchen of the future, let's say like this, what is your first question to start the project?
That's a question for me.
Yes.
What are we going to be eating?
Almost. Are we going to be eating?
Are we going to be eating? Wow. Okay.
Right? Do we need? Can I have? I'm sure that today I can put everything that I need. I know there's the pleasure of eating, don't get me wrong, but I can put everything that I need in a pill. All the nutrients, fibers, and everything that I need or in a cereal bar. So if you're framing tomorrow, you may say, we don't need the kitchen as we know because we're going to be eating that kind of little bar that has everything. I may agree, but if you do that as a designer, what you need to think about is if you create something like that, you disrupt the farmer that is putting the seed on the ground to get soy. You're disrupting the tractors and heavy equipment industry because they're not going to be using the tractors anymore. The guy who goes and kind of get the crops, kind of put in a box and kind of prepare that for transportation, the box itself, you don't need that anymore. The guy that kind of transports it to multiple factories to be processed again, and then if you get that guy kind of that material and it goes to the shops or supermarkets, you don't need the supermarkets anymore. So depending when you're reframing the future, if you change one thing like going for a full meal for lunch only because you want to have a good dinner and you get a pill, you're not just changing the behavior of kind of having lunch, you're disrupting the whole market and everything that is around it. So this is design, I think. Being able to frame tomorrow and be responsible for whatever you are creating. No kind of comments that things will evolve and will change, right? Like today we are eating in a different way that my grandparents used to eat. Then to be a good designer, you need to be able to tell stories. So you need to be a storyteller. You need to kind of be able to create a compelling story about whatever you are delivering. Is it a drawing? Is it a full business plan and a design plan for the whole new 20 years of that or 10 years of that brand globally? You need to be a storyteller, right? So if you don't add value through stories and you make sure that you enhance every single point, the valuable points, and you kind of have a deep understanding about what you're doing, you're not good. And then the last thing that a good designer should have and should be able to do is to create ideas. We are paid for that. We are paid to be visionaries. We are paid to see the future. We are paid to challenge the status quo. Eventually, again, that goes completely against, and you get screwed in a company because you're pushing too hard, right? And you're pushing out of because you want things to move. And you need to understand that everything has a nice and a place to be and a moment to happen. You learn that with life. I learned that through life. And so I think those are the kind of basic ingredients
Okay.
for a reasonable designer.
Cesar, was absolutely mind blowing, a very interesting, very colorful. I'm pretty drunk, so I probably need to I probably need to get to sleep. But dude, it was really, really good. I really enjoyed hooking up with you again. It's been a long time, and I'm glad that we were able to do it. You know, I because otherwise I don't know when we would
Yeah.
ever if we would ever see each other again. I mean, hopefully in the future at a motor show or something like that. But you
Yeah.
just
If
never.
they get back, right?
Yeah, well, hopefully, yeah, definitely. So, dude, thank you so much for your time.
Thank
It
you.
was, yeah. I mean, been going for 2 hours now, so it was a good one. It
Yeah.
was a very good one. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a very good one. I enjoyed a lot as well. Thank you. Again, I know that our conversation was focused on many different things, educational side that I love, and I'm leaving now. Uh, but everything that we said doesn't make any sense if there's no passion. Design is about passion. It's about loving what you do, and again, the having fun that I keep saying is about feeding that passion daily and do something that moves you forward. If you're passionate about Jags, cars in general, your wife, your kids, your dog, music, or whatever, I don't care. Being passionate, right? Because that keeps your brain in the right mindset to go beyond and further. Thank you again. I appreciate. Hopefully, we're going to repeat that sometime, and we're going to have this wine. That mine is gone.
Yes, for sure. Yeah.
Together somewhere in Germany.
Yeah, hopefully, dude. Yeah,
Or in
hopefully,
Italy, right?
or in
Or
Italy,
whatever.
yeah, or in the US or wherever. Yeah, but definitely, I would love to.